おはようございます。私はマダムラプロフ。はじめまして。フランス語の先生です。私の日本語は上手じゃないです。モントリオール住んでいます。学校に仕事をします。よろしくお願いします。So, for Free From Friday, I didn't prepare anything. I don't even have notes. I basically want to talk about how me learning Japanese has made me understand my students better. So I often see students who are super strong in speaking but have limited skills or have difficulty in reading and in writing. And I often see the other way around. I see a lot of students who are strong in writing, strong in reading, but in speaking, they are struggling. So, I've been learning Japanese since last fall. So, I started last year. And I could probably write with my notes, with the help of my dictionary. I could probably write down a couple of solid sentences, all right? But speaking, I am horrible. 上手じゃないです, right? I am horrible. But if you ask me questions about how syntax works, how the particles work, how to place components in a sentence, I got it. I can understand certain things that will puzzle other people. All right, other learners. I'm not saying that I'm a pro at syntax and grammar. No. But I understand the mechanisms. Like the other day, I explained to my French department how adjectives in Japanese have a present, have a negative, have a past, and a past negative. All right, and I was pretty good because I did it like just by memory, considering also that I haven't been studying and haven't been going to class last 3 weeks because of a variety of things. And yeah, so I understand that struggle that my students have when it comes to doing French interactions in my class. They are very comfortable with a dictionary. They look up all the words, they look up all how to write the sentences, but to translate that knowledge into speaking is very different. And considering that my ideas go by like at 100 miles an hour in my brain, it's hard for me to come up with those words quickly when I'm speaking in Japanese. So I get it. And it's not because I'm not trying, but I realize that also because I have so many other commitments, I cannot dedicate all of my free time to practicing Japanese. Like I do the Duolingo thing just, for fun because it's a game. And there have been moments where I recognized certain kanji that I learned in class because I saw them on Duolingo. But it's definitely not enough. It's not enough. So I'm doing my best to learn as much as I can and to practice as often as I can. But it's not obvious. It's not hard. Which brings me to the topic of like immersion. One of the best ways to learn a language is to be immersed in it, and immersion is a huge component. I kind of mention to some of my friends that I don't get the chance to practice my Greek often because no one around me speaks Greek. Yes, I could speak to my mom, okay? But cognitively, when you associate a language with a person, right, and it's hard to go back to another language, you know? So, for instance, my sister and I, growing up, we spoke English to our mom, and my mom is Greek, right? So I can speak Greek. I can't speak it that great, but I can't always carry a conversation in Greek with my mom because my brain wants to go back to English. She would often try and convince my cousins to speak Greek to us when we were kids, but invariably we would do this. Invariably, I need more coffee. We would do the same thing with our cousins. We would just switch back to English because we grew up and that was the first language we associated with. Like, same thing with my dad. With my dad, I would speak French. Sometimes I speak English to him, but I will always switch back to French. So it's often like that. And you'll notice that if you speak a different language with a person, you've been speaking one language. If you've been speaking language A with a person for a very long time, when you go into another language, it feels weird. It feels off. There's something not quite right. And I'm not a linguistics specialist. I know enough and I understand enough because I studied it when I was in university, but like it's not like I have a PhD in this, all right? But it's a known fact, and you will look at some of my students whose parents are either first generation, second generation immigrants. When they speak to their parents, they will speak in that native tongue, and so it's super interesting. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that if I really want to learn Japanese, I'm going to have to go to Japan eventually. I'm going to have to do that. So I've developed an appreciation towards my students who are struggling at speaking, and I give them little tips, little tricks to make it easier for them. So, for instance, I'm not good at Japanese. However, I do know some of like little keywords to show that I'm paying attention when I'm speaking, like so, like things like that, all right? Or I will say, so desu ka? Really? Because sometimes I can pick up certain things and, it's like, oh, really? Okay. Hontou ni? Really? Vraiment? Hontou ni? So I teach that to my students too when it comes to French, like, because when it comes to evaluating interactions in French, yes, we evaluate French, we evaluate grammar and stuff, but it's not as important as their engagement in a conversation and their ideas. So I tell them, learn just a couple of key words en français, like vraiment, vraiment, pour de vrai, oh, non, tu ne dis pas, ben voyons, which is like pure Québécois, like ben voyons, and that is very, like, that's part of your learning. That's part of your learning. If you can use those little key words to show your engagement in conversation, it counts. It counts. So yeah, I hope I'll be able to progress to something a bit more elaborate than 私の日本語は上手じゃないです, which always makes people laugh because I translate it to my Japanese sucks, which is what it means, but not quite exactly like that. So in French, it's mon japonais est poche. And it always makes people laugh when I say it like that. I don't want to struggle, but I know it's going to be a bit of an uphill battle. And I mean, considering that I only spent like a year, okay, I think I'm doing okay. I think I'm doing okay for the input of effort that I'm putting in. That was redundant. It's Friday. It is Friday. And I showed up to school. I didn't show up that early. There was no one in the parking lot. No one. So either a lot of teachers are going to be absent today, or people are just taking their sweet time because it's a Friday morning. I'm betting it's that one. So on that awesome note, folks, have yourselves a lovely day, or as I say in Japanese to my teacher, 来週またね. 来週またね. Orgashumaita. 来週また. また来週. 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 See you next week. また来週.